One day, while studying in the library, Shen Yao's phone rings. As soon as she answers, a man on the other end warns her that someone is coming for her. All of a sudden, Shen Yao is surrounded by 4 men in suits, and these guys don't seem like they are here to give her candy, so Shen Yao gets up and runs straight for the door. But there's an agent blocking her path, so she is forced to run down the corridor instead. She eventually finds a closet, so she opens the door and locks herself inside to escape the agents, but now she's got nowhere to go. The agents start trying to break down the door, and Shen Yao is terrified. But just when things look hopeless, the man who called to warn her tells her to turn around. Behind her, there is a blob of yellow energy floating, and from it, a hand reaches out to grab her, so Shen Yao closes her eyes and waits for the inevitable. By the time the agents have broken the door down, Shen Yao is long gone. She was taken by Wang, and he's the guy who called to warn her about the agents, so he is currently trying to get her as far away from them as possible, so he is hitting every parkour move in the book. However, the agents have a secret weapon to counter Wang's parkour, a gun. Wang gets shot out of the air, and he's mostly unharmed, but he won't be able to get away from the agents like this, so he puts Shen Yao down and sets up a barrier to protect her while he prepares for a fight. He jumps off the ledge, and as soon as he lands, he hits one of the agents with a punch that definitely made him start smelling sound. Another agent runs up to attack him, so Wang punches him away while also fending off 2 other agents. Eventually, one of them manages to tackle Wang, and now that he's got him, he drags Wang into the air. After a brief scuffle mid-air, the man manages to slam Wang into a building with the help of his 3 allies, but when the dust settles, all 3 allies have been knocked out. Wang, on the other hand, is perfectly fine, but I'm sure at least 10 innocent people just died in that building. Wang still has an agent confronting him, so he floats back out of the building and takes off his coat because things are about to get serious. The agent is tired of wasting time, so he decides to go all out and picks up a second building to use as a projectile. The people in that building probably wish they called in sick for work today as the agent throws the building at Wang. But without even breaking a sweat, Wang catches the building with his powers, breaks it apart, and throws the blocks back at the agent. The agent tries to defend himself, but Wang simply compressed all the blocks until a massive explosion occurs that sends Wang and the agent to a mirrored version of the world. Wang is annoyed that things turned out like this because it's going to cause a lot of trouble for him, but he still has to deal with the agent first. The agent pulls out his gun and aims it at Wang, and I'm not sure what he thinks a gun is going to do when Wang just caught a building a minute ago, but none of it matters because the gun doesn't work in this dimension, and Wang is out of time anyway. The yellow energy begins to surround Wang, and as it does, it knocks the agent backward into the water. Time then begins to rewind, and Wang hopes that things can turn out differently in the next loop. Eventually, everything goes back to normal, and Shen Yao wakes up back at her desk in the library. She has no recollection of what just happened, and she finds a young Wang standing next to her and asking for help because he doesn't understand his math homework. Years go by, and now everyone is at a high school mixer. They are playing Jenga, and it's Shen Yao's turn to make a move, but when she locks eyes with Wang, she gets flustered and messes up. As part of the game, anyone who topples the tower is required to reveal a secret, so the group asks Shen Yao to tell them who her crush is. Wang starts smiling as soon as he hears this, so his classmates start teasing him because there's no way Shen Yao could possibly like a plain-looking NPC like him. But to everyone's surprise, including Wang, Shen Yao admits that she really does like him. And she makes it very clear that she's not joking because she has liked him ever since the day they met in middle school. Wang is too stunned because having Shen Yao confess to him is like a dream come true. Normally, this would have been the happiest day of his life, but right after the mixer ended, he got kidnapped and is currently being beaten to a pulp down by the river. Wang has never met any of these people in his life, but their boss, Sunjin, happens to have a crush on Shen Yao. And after learning that Shen Yao likes Wang rather than just taking the L and moving on, he decided to drag Wang down to the river and have his underlings threaten to kill him. Wang recognizes Sunjin as the leader of a notorious gang, and he also recalls hearing that Sunjin would constantly harass Shen Yao. So he realizes what's going on here, but there's nothing he can do against this many opponents. Sunjin then video calls Shen Yao from Wang's phone and tells her to have a look at the pitiful state of her crush. Shen Yao is horrified to see what Sunjin has done to Wang, so Wang yells for Sunjin to leave her out of this because he doesn't want her to worry about him. But Sunjin is intent on making Shen Yao watch Wang's humiliation. He tells Wang that he is a total loser and that he has no right to date someone as perfect as Shen Yao. He then orders Wang to swear that he will never get involved with Shen Yao again, otherwise, Sunjin says he's going to drop him in the river. Now, Wang could take the easy way out and swear that he won't talk to Shen Yao again, but Wang would never betray her like that, so instead he headbutts the guy holding him. To Wang's credit, that was a really solid headbutt, but unfortunately for him, It was so solid that the guy holding him accidentally let go, so Wang ends up falling into the river. Sunjin starts panicking because he never actually planned to kill Wang. He just wanted to scare him a little so he wouldn't steal Shen Yao from him. He frantically calls out for Wang to see if he's alright, but no one answers, so Wang is probably dead. That means Sunjin has just committed murder, and he let Shen Yao witness the entire thing. Meanwhile, inside the water, Wang is currently drowning, but he doesn't bother trying to save himself because if he can't protect the one that he loves, then there's no point in being alive. As his life flashes before his eyes, Wang has a vision of his childhood. He had just run away from a fight, and by middle school standards, that instantly destroyed all the popularity he used to have. And to really rub it in, he overhears two girls talking about how much of a crybaby they think he is. Hours went by, and as the school day ended, everyone went home, but Wang stayed behind and continued to sulk. Eventually, Shen Yao walks out of the gate, but she stops as soon as she notices Wang sitting by the gate, so she asks him what's wrong. Wang remains silent, so Shen Yao assumes he must have forgotten his umbrella and offers to share hers with him so they can walk home together. Wang refuses her offer and says he can walk home by himself, but Shen Yao reminds him that it's still raining and he doesn't have an umbrella, so he's going to get soaked. Wang realizes she's right, but he says he can just wait here until the rain stops. Shen Yao thinks Wang is really funny, but then she notices a cut on his arm, so she asks him to let her see it. Wang initially refuses, but Shen Yao says she just wants to help dress the wound. Wang eventually agrees, so Shen Yao puts a bandage on his arm and blows a kiss onto it to make it heal faster. And at that very moment, Wang had already imagined the next 50 years of his life with Shen Yao. He thanks her for her help, and from that moment forward, the two of them were practically inseparable. Back to the present, Wang wakes up in the water and he notices a light coming from the bottom of the river. He has already sunk too far down for him to make it back to the surface before he drowns, so he decides to commit to it and swims down to check out the light before he dies. Once he gets to the bottom, he finds a little glowing cube there, so he picks it up, and before he even realizes what's going on, the cube activates and goes inside him. All of a sudden, Wang feels immense pain throughout his body, and a few moments later he is teleported out of the water and starts traveling through a wormhole that lands him in the middle of a cube. When Wang wakes up, he starts panicking because he was drowning a second ago. He is relieved to be alive, but now he has no idea where he is or how he got here for that matter. Just then, a system appears in front of him and announces that Wang now has the power to draw a 15-meter radius around himself, and within that area, he is allowed to teleport to any location instantly. None of that makes any sense to Wang since he doesn't believe teleportation is real, but in the next moment, he gets teleported against his will. He appears into the sky above the canal, and Wang starts freaking out again because he is really high up, and he's worried he might fall to his doom. But he's actually floating, so he's safe. Once he calms down, he looks at the ground and realizes that Sunjin is desperately searching for him in the water because he's worried that he might have killed Wang, and he finds it kind of amusing, but a few seconds later, he gets teleported to a new location. Sunjin gets the feeling that someone was just watching him from the sky, so he asks his subordinates if they heard anything just now, but they think Sunjin must have just been hallucinating, so he tells them to keep looking for Wang. Meanwhile, Wang ended up being teleported into an empty classroom in his school, and he is now sure that he really can teleport, but he doesn't understand how he got this power. Suddenly, the system speaks up and tells Wang that he has just continuously activated his teleportation ability. Wang starts freaking out and worries that he might be going crazy since he is hearing voices in his head, but the system corrects him because it is actually in Wang's body, not his head. That's still not very comforting, so Wang tells it to get out of his body, but the system ignores him and warns that someone is approaching. There is a staff member walking towards the classroom because he heard a weird noise coming from inside, but as he opens the door, all he sees is an empty classroom with a puddle of water on the floor. Wang ended up making it back to his house, so he decided to take a shower to relax. Once he's done with his shower, he pulls out his phone and somehow it still works even though it was at the bottom of the river with him. The first thing he does is call Shen Yao to let her know that he's alive, and as soon as Shen Yao answers, she starts frantically asking him if he's alright. He tells her he is fine, but she thinks Sunjin went way too far, so she asks Wang if they should report him to the police. Honestly, Shen Yao should have called the cops the moment she saw Wang fall off the bridge, but Wang tells her there's no need. He managed to get away without Sunjin spotting him, so right now, he's probably still searching the river for Wang's body and worrying about all the potential jail time he could get. Anyway, a lot of stuff happened today, so Wang tells her to get some rest for today and hangs up. He then lays down on his bed and wonders what he's going to do about his system, because no one would believe him even if he told them. All of a sudden, the system shows up again and asks if Wang has calmed down yet. Wang asks it why it keeps following him around. but the system reminds him that it is a part of his body now, so Wang can't get away from it. The system then activates the cube and Wang is sucked into it once again. The system explains that it has established a connection with Wang's body, so in other words, Wang is stuck with it forever. That makes him the user of the Heradric Cube Universal System, and by extension, the master of the system. Wang still doesn't fully understand, so he asks the system where he is, so it explains that this is a macro space within the cube, and even though the cube is only 3 cubic centimeters big, it has a lot more space on the inside. Wang knows the system is telling the truth, so he asks it why it bothered helping someone like him, and the system tells him it's because it wants to make his dream come true, and that dream is to become the king of the world. This was the end of episode 1. Subscribe to not miss the next part.